Hello, I just wanted to jump on quickly before the episode officially starts to invite you to a live event that we are hosting on September 9th. So this event is in celebration of our 1-year anniversary, and not only is it a celebration, it is also a live panel event. We will be hosting 3 panelists, all of which who have been on the pod previously, to discuss all things pathways. This will also be an opportunity for audience members to interact with them directly. If this is something that you are interested in and you live on the Mornington Peninsula or you'd like to drive for the night, please check out our Instagram at @morethanascorepod for more information. We'd love to see you there. On to the episode.
He was right. I didn't have the experience. And he was the one that actually said, I think you need to change your application to a limited builder, and I reckon you'll get that. So he rang me on the way home, like I'm in tears because I just failed. And,
Yeah.
You know, this guy, Simon, rang me and said, I've just been thinking maybe, and I did. I changed my application, got my limited license, and that gave me the tools the opportunity to get that experience behind me and go back again.
What if you're watching someone you know fall behind because school isn't lighting them up? Well, this conversation's for you. Our guest today left school knowing university wasn't for him, and he headed into a trade with the surname to match. Lyle House became a carpenter, then a commercial building supervisor, then a builder who ran his own company through a 5-year slog. He sat the exam for a full builder's license and completely failed it. And somehow that turned out to be one of the best things that could have happened. Now, today, he's the general manager of Enchanted Adventure, leading a whole park full of young people, having never worked a day in tourism before he started working at the park. Lyle is humble, warm, kind, and quietly ambitious for all the people around him. Previous cricketer and captain who has lost more grand finals than most of us will ever play in, and will tell you without missing a beat that his teams were successful anyway. He's a builder of houses and of teams and communities. A husband, a dad of 2, and living proof that a path can look completely different to the one everyone expected, and it can still land somewhere wonderful. There's a lot in here for anyone listening who has felt pressure to have it all mapped out. So, welcome to this episode of More Than a Score.
All right.
Okay, you ready to go?
Yeah.
Let's
good.
do this.
Was you recording?
I've started recording, yep.
Okay. Look out. All right.
You're in trouble now.
All right.
And you or anything, please get comfy because you are still sitting for a little while.
Okay. Well, good.
Great.
Expectation management. Like, you're going to be sitting for a while. You can't leave ever. So don't even try asking.
Yeah.
Lyle House, I am very pleased to have you joining us on the podcast. And I'm lucky enough that I get to do the introductions off air. You were a little worried about the background research, but I can tell you it's absolutely fine. But here we go, Lyle.
All right.
Humble, warm, kind, and ambitious for others. A true captain and leader. A man who can build anything, particularly a team and community. Cricketing and local hero, record holder, lover of enchanted adventures, dad of 2, and proof that a path can look completely different but still end up in a wonderful place. Welcome to More Than a Score.
There you go. You've got, where have you pulled all that from?
Oh, I don't, look, it's amazing what can happen with ChatGPT. Lyle House, and just knew everything about you. That was...
Oh, thank you. It's very kind of you, ChatGPT.
Oh, well, I know now it gets the it definitely was full disclosure. That was definitely not AI. I need to say that was all human. Well, if you're familiar with our episodes, we always start with the question. When you think back to the end of your time at school, were you happy with your score?
I knew I'd get asked that because I have listened. You know, I think I was. Like, I think I was more happy that I'd finished Year 12 because I kind of knew which direction I was heading in. So the score in my mind didn't really matter too much. Could I have got a higher score? Maybe, but I just enjoyed Year 12. I knew that I wasn't going to university, so...
What did you enjoy about Year 12? Because you just broke out into a big smile, as you said.
Yeah, I probably break out in a big smile because I look back now and go, if I did put in a bit harder, maybe, it could have helped. But yeah, I knew kind of what I was going to do after I left school anyway. And Mum was just big on just get your Year 12 done and get your VCE done and, yeah, go do what you want to do.
You've given us a little clue there. You said, I already knew what I wanted to do. When did you know that, and what caused you to know that you didn't want to go to university?
Well, I mean, maybe with the surname House. Carpentry was like
Preordained.
No, I think I knew I was. Well, maybe I knew I was going to head into some sort of trade purely because I just couldn't see university being a fit for me, or I don't think Mum did either. But I did a bit of work experience when I was younger with a few guys, a guy from our career club and in carpentry, and I kind of knew I was probably going to head down that path, and I did.
So what subjects were the most appealing to you at school then?
I enjoyed maths.
Yeah.
But again, probably maths that didn't challenge me. It was
right.
Probably, it's funny trying to help my daughter with a bit of homework, and she's so similar to me that once she finds something that it clicks, then everything the homework becomes a bit easier and whatever. But when it's challenged, we did design technology as well at school, which I loved. I hated English, didn't really like reading books and stuff like that.
And certainly books perhaps that you didn't choose.
Yeah, exactly. And, if there was a movie about the book, I'd watch the movie for sure.
Yeah.
You weren't allowed to, but I did. Yeah. I think a lot of us did actually.
Of course, yeah.
I did enjoy school. It was fun.
So thinking of the path and knowing you, a lot of your life has been around your trade work, the building, footy, cricket, and you mentioned not having many in your pre-pod form. You mentioned not having many standout memories of school. So for the listener, can you paint us a picture of young Lyle? Yeah. Where did you feel the most in your element? Where you were most enjoying yourself?
It's funny because my best mate still, to the day was a mate of mine from school, from year 7. I had a lot of friends growing up, through school. I'm comfortable to say I didn't have a lot of close mates at school. They were, they were good friends and what have you. And I met a lot of my biggest supporters, certainly outside of school, through sport and now through the kids a little bit. But I think where did I feel most? Certainly playing cricket and around that place. Yeah, certainly felt supported and had a lot of close friends there.
When you think of the people that you've really connected with in the clubs, is there something in common that they have that you really find you connect with?
We had a thing on Wednesday night, speaking to some guys that I'd known. One guy, Wes, who Mum used to drop me down to the cricket club when I was about 12, and I'd hang around, so about my son's age. And this guy Wes was just like doing everything around the club, and you just pick up on things. And I think just the way that they treated each other and sporting clubs in general, there's so many different types of characters that come through, and some people are eccentric, some aren't, but I just learned a lot from them, just how they treat everyone, and probably see the good in people rather than judge, I guess.
Do you think cricket and the cricket space is where you got the most validation in terms of being good at something?
Yeah, I think so. And I think because I was there at a young age, and then, I don't know, like if I'm in that boat now, if there's a kid hanging out there at the age of 12 and then ends up playing, in a higher grade at 16 and seeing, I think I've been, certainly support-wise, I just felt, I don't know, it's a hard one to explain. Again, like I had a lot of good friends at school, but I didn't have a lot of probably close mates that supported me, if that makes sense.
Had more champions in cricket.
Yeah. And still today, like there's guys that I see that were really big supporters of me, and I love it. Like I'm very thankful. But
I mean, so often there's a huge emphasis on the university pathway, but it sounds like you were really supported by your mum, particularly around that it was okay to go on this trade pathway. Given that the listener is a parent, most likely, it might also be a young person too. Like, what do you remember it was that your mum did that made it feel this is absolutely fine to be doing a different path?
I think, well, she certainly supported me with it, whatever I chose to do. I think it was pretty clear that I wasn't like an academic. I'd have a go, but I wasn't. And Mum worked. She actually worked for a builder at the time, and kind of could see, what you could do in a trade, as in, you can become successful in a trade. I think she probably saw that I knew the outdoors. I love playing sport, all that sort of stuff, and sitting in a classroom probably wasn't for me. But I don't know how, like, there wasn't a clear moment that, like, I'm not going to university. I don't even think university I ever contemplated going, like, I think I was always going to do something like that. Yeah.
And it's just a cruise over time. Sorry, interrupt.
Yeah, no, but there was a huge emphasis on uni so I graduated in 2002, and there was, you had to have your preferences in if you were doing uni and all this sort of stuff. I just felt like there was a lot of pressure on it. It's probably similar now, but there's a lot of pressure on deciding what you want to do for the rest of your life. And you could argue the point that choosing carpentry, you know, you're destined to do that for the rest of your life. But yeah, I don't know. I just knew that I wasn't there. I wasn't going to uni.
Yeah, it's a funny thing. Like it becomes more about what are you doing as opposed to who you are.
Yeah.
You know, the areas that you might pursue. I think there's a woman called, I think it's Marcy Albaher. She talks about slash careers.
Yeah, okay.
So that it's all right to be, you might do this, then you might do this, but over time it's just constantly evolving.
Yeah.
I don't know if that resonates in some sort of way but listening to your and seeing your pathway going from school, cricket, sport, building, and then where you ended up today, it seems like there's just this sort of like progression that you've just been open to throughout time. But before we jump to the pathway, you said necessary, structured, and then surprisingly I saw fun.
Educational school, is that, you mean?
Yeah.
Education?
Yeah. Well, I think necessary. I think obviously, yeah, you need to do it. The structure one, to be honest, I probably reflect on that now that my daughter's at high school. Like, it's been really interesting just watching the structure of high school and how it suits her. And despite what my wife thinks, she's very much like me. And so I see her now enjoying the structure, and that's probably how I probably enjoyed that's some level of structure. Otherwise I get distracted and end up kicking the footy out there or doing whatever. And it was fun. Let's say we had a lot of fun people at our school, and I did enjoy it, I think.
When you said your wife doesn't agree, what's her perception?
Oh no, because Matilda is exactly like me.
Yeah.
But so it's a bit of like an inside joke that she's just like Rosie, which she's not. She's 100% like me. Whenever Matilda plays up or whatever, it's sort of she's just like you, Rosie. She's just like me.
You're right.
Yeah, if it's all right to ask, so you were leaning towards following a trade. You weren't feeling as connected at school. You know, you had mates, but not really, really close mates.
Yeah.
If it's all right to ask about, what helped you stay? Why did you stay all the way through and complete year 12 versus
Mum's like, just you gotta finish year 12. I think big on that, just to have it on your resume that you've completed year 12 was a big thing, I think. And I was certainly like a bit of a late bloomer, so me as a 16-year-old probably wasn't ready to get my hands dirty and work in a trade. Obviously mum should, but she understood who I was and probably knew that I would thrive a bit in that trade and area, I guess. Yeah.
How important was it? It sounds like your mum sort of set up some opportunities for you. We had somebody on recently who was just saying that, especially in this work landscape, we as parents and adults are going to have to start making more connections for young people because those entry-level jobs that are easier or have been easier to get are maybe not as available.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how important it was for your mum to set those opportunities up for you.
Yeah, it's funny because I don't remember her really pushing me to go in that direction. I think she just supported me in, if I ever brought it up, maybe she would support me more in doing that.
Yeah.
Certainly along, like, even once I was a qualified carpenter, like the opportunities that she gave me to build, they built a house in Mount Eliza and she got me involved in that, and she didn't have to, but she wanted me to get the experience in sort of managing a build from the ground up. And then we did a development together later in life on our grandma's property, and she allowed me to project manage that and do all that. So she kind of, as mums do, but guided me and put me in the right direction, I guess. Yeah.
It's interesting you've said as mums do quite a few times, but it sounds like your mum is really engaged and active and being just a constant supporter. I don't know if everyone gets that thing where they have someone go, let's do this and I'll fully support you and whatever the path is, that's okay. When you think of all that you've learned from your mum and that really lovely support, are you paying that forward with your kids? How's it look with the way that you now take that?
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
Should we we'll get the kids on the
Yeah. They're probably like a grumpy dad or whatever. No, I think so. I think it's important. Rosie's quite the mum. She'll support. I mean, we both do. We'll support them in anything that they want to do.
Rose is your wife?
Yeah. But it's funny because Rosie's an academic and still is, like, still studies and I'm not. So it's sort of like I'm happy to support them in whatever they do. And she's probably supports them to chase academic, yeah.
Or challenge himself.
Yeah. And she's a good role model for that. She's just finished her master's a few months ago, and she's one of the things she's like, I just want to keep learning and show the kids that you can keep learning, and Glad she's doing it.
Well, what a great balance for them to both have, that they can just see that either way you can experience and be successful regardless of what it is that you pursue.
Yeah.
One of the things you spoke about, though, in your pre-pod was about working hard and, you know, being driven.
Yeah.
I guess and I know we've got it down, Loz, for later as well, but I guess it's a nice segue. So when you say being driven and putting in hard work, what does that look like? Because you work with a large number of young people at your current work. What does hard work and being driven, do you think, look like?
Yeah. I mean, we employ, 15, 16-year-old boys and girls. And it's challenging. Like, I think I was a bit, and I probably still am now. Well, I certainly am now. I was always like a bit of a pleaser. Like, I would work really hard to make sure that my boss now, Mick, I make sure that I look after him and please him. But it's the definition for me of working hard isn't like how many sticks of timber can you carry up a hill or anything like that. It's just little things about respect and being on time and, you know, working hard to be a good person, I guess. And if you're kind and you're a good person, then you can be successful at work. Yeah.
You really said that the skills you can develop if you're driven, honest and kind will give you a lot of opportunity. And Dan and I both had those 3 words down for you. What a good combination.
I'm very thankful for the people that I've met along my journey so far, but I'm proud to say it about myself. I feel like I'm nice to people. I don't take the piss. I try and look after people, and that's just who I have been for forever. And it's got me to where I'm at now, you know. It's hard to talk about, you know, like it's right talking about something.
Yeah, coming on a podcast and talking about it. Yeah. But it's a really nice segue, actually, I think, before we keep talking about, you know, Enchanted Adventures, where you're the general manager, let's just pause and think through, I guess, that pathway of where you've got to.
I've had a few clips over the journey too. It hasn't all like I haven't been, you know,
that's right,
enjoying it. I've learned along the way. And
what do you want to tell us instead of me reading it to you? Like, do you want to?
No, I remember there's one that's still like, and it's the tiniest one. There's one that still sticks in my head. I was doing some subcontracting for a guy, and I had to go to this place in Edithvale and do this quick, easy job on a Friday afternoon. Rosie, my now wife, she lived up in the city. I was always like going up on a Friday afternoon, get up there and the weekend up there. And in my head, I'm like, let's just get this done and get out of here, you know? And I went and did it and absolutely butchered it. Like, just did such a crap job. Like, he was embarrassed. And I just remember him ringing me and he didn't go off at me or whatever, but he just put it into perspective about taking your time and doing it better. And he made me go there in my own time. He wouldn't pay me to do it. And one of the best clips I had, and it really changed my mindset of like, let's finish this. And then,
how old were you at that time?
Early in your career? Yeah, like I still would have been, like maybe 22 or something. Yeah, certainly early in my career. So, you know, when I say I'd like to say that I've worked hard, there's been clips over the journey for sure.
We've all had those before.
Yeah.
I think working hard is different to being perfect, though, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it? Because you worked hard, but because you're also open to feedback and you care about doing the right thing.
Yeah.
If your boss calls you up and says it's not good enough, you need to go back and get it done.
Yeah.
That's a great lesson to take.
How important do you think that feedback and criticism has been over your time? Because then there's a lot of people that would get defensive. Well, you know, it was a Friday afternoon and I did my best, but it seems like you took that and you learnt the lesson. Yeah,
even now, like the thing I valued the most out of it was he didn't abuse, like he didn't go nuts at me. He just, he said it in a way that it probably registered with me a bit more. He knew exactly it was a Friday afternoon, you know, he's probably been in the same boat. But he just delivered it in a way that kind of, I don't know, like I certainly felt like I'd let him down and and I'm like, fair shout, I'll go and fix that. And I was back there the next day and fixed it.
Well, it sounds like he offered you an opportunity to show that you could do it.
Yeah. Even at work, it's feedback's such a challenging thing because, people do get their backs up, but it's all for the... I hate the blame, like just, let's look at what's happened and fix it, and then we can talk about how to do it better next time.
Well, you're very good at asking people how they want to get feedback.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I used to do it. Yeah, sometimes people have never been asked, or they find it a weird thing, or I sometimes ask them how they like to give feedback.
Yeah.
Because more often than not, we like to give it the way we like to receive it. So, like, I like to tell people just how it is, and so then I try and find them like, so if I'm giving you feedback, would you like me just to tell you, like, still being respectful, but like, sometimes you have to go around and time.
Yes.
But I think as well, they talk about different triggers that cause people to not receive feedback well.
Yep.
And it strikes me that one of the things that you seem really good at is building relationships. Because one of the big triggers they say is if you don't have a relationship with someone.
Yeah.
So like with me and my sisters, if I told my elder sister, if I gave her some feedback on say something, she might hear it differently to my other sister.
Yeah.
Because we've got a different relationship. So it's like if you invest in the relationship with people like your boss had, they can say, hey, that's not good enough. You need to go back and get it done. Yeah. And you go, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. So like Rose is like a few times, she'll be like saying, so whatever it is, she'll be, this is what I think, like that. And then so, like you might come up and go, I reckon you should try this. And then I'll go, it's just that different voice.
Oh, we all have those. Like kids especially.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody said this, and like, I haven't said that 100 times, but I'm just white noise at this point.
Yeah. Well, it's that thing of sometimes we listen, but we don't hear.
Yeah.
For
so
sure.
that's the key.
And she's living in a house that's been renovated for like the last 15 years. There's still stuff that hasn't been finished or whatever. So she's probably listening going,
feel free. You can reach out with the list of things to get done. So you've gone from this schooling experience and you're really, really passionate about being involved in cricket and footy, being part of those communities. You're a captain, you're engaged in coaching. You actually went off as you finished school and you lived overseas, spent a year in the UK playing cricket as well. So living, travelling. And then when you came back, you started a carpentry business. So you complete your apprenticeship, go in, start your carpentry business. You then move in to be a supervisor of commercial buildings. So you get to see a different side of it. And then, again, going to the fact that you said, I've taken a few clips and things haven't always worked out. You studied really hard and tried to get your full registration as a builder and failed. And then, regardless of that, continue to go on. You then eventually launch a new building business, which you described as a 5-year slog of going through it. And then there's a shift. You move to become activities manager, then operations manager, and now the general manager of Enchanted Adventure. I'm really interested to know, there was this really clear through line of building, carpentry, and then a really big shift. Can you talk us through the shift and what helped that shift occur?
Yeah, I think I was sort of, when I was a carpenter, like there was a big thing about getting your building license and then becoming a builder and all that sort of stuff. And it's like, I felt like you couldn't just be a carpenter for the rest of my time. That's just how I felt. I think in a roundabout way, having Rosie at the time, who was very academic, come from a family of academics, and I don't think there's certainly no pressure came from them. It was probably more the pressure of me wanting to do better and prove that I could study and get my builder's license or whatever. Maybe that was a part of it. But yeah, I think the work, like I did like carpentry. Not saying I hated it, but I don't think I ever loved it. And I felt like heading down that supervisor, that sort of management way was more my path. And then, again, Mum gave me a few opportunities to have experience and things on paper for me to then go and apply. But the first time when I applied, I was nowhere near ready to get my license. Like I look at it now and go, but I had a crack at it. And
you said it was a really good thing that it didn't work out. Sorry.
I was just going to ask how old you were at that time. I'm trying to get a time frame.
So that would have been, it would have been about 27, 28. Yeah. And the guy that interviewed me for my license, like, it was just purely experience based, and he's right. Like the technical knowledge that we had to study and do all that, like I felt like I covered that, but they see everything before you even sit down. So whether he made his mind up there or then, but he was right. I didn't have the experience, and he was the one that actually said, I think you need to change your application to a limited builder, and I reckon you'll get that. So he rang me on the way home, like I'm in tears because I've just failed. And, this guy, Simon, rang me and said, I've just been thinking maybe, and I did. I changed my application, got my limited license, and that gave me the tools the opportunity to get that experience behind me and go back again.
It does sound like you're quite open, that you're willing to change the pathway instead of this fixed mindset of this is what I want to do. If I don't get there, I'm a failure, I'm a this, I'm a that. It does seem like you are open to a course correction.
I think I had to have a course direction change when at the end of it, but no, always. And I think, again, through like all the way through, it's through people, like the opportunities that I had. Like I said, my first apprenticeship was through a guy at the cricket club. But when I went to that commercial builder, it was through the Lloyd family at the footy club I was playing at. You know, we had opportunities to work with them, and then Enchanted through meeting Mick at the gym. So,
well, we had a guy on, Steve, and he's just opened up his new recording studio. Thank you. I'm like, what's the word before studio? Recording studio. And he says he believes that there's people that come into your life that are to connect and they're connectors. And it sounds like you've had a few of those.
Yeah, for sure.
In your time.
For sure. Yeah.
And listening to your story, so there's a leadership lens, or like a theme of leadership. So it's been through like cricket. You then even just said there, you were in carpentry, you moved into this work, you started realising management and leadership. I guess I was interested to hear too that the sports you've spent time in, it's been about big teams and teams and bringing together. Yeah. And when I've spoken to you off air previously about the work that you do with all the young people you work with, you love bringing people together. What's your approach for like bringing teams and creating teams or leading teams?
Yeah, it's probably a bit different now, because I think certainly when I was younger and captained a cricket team, I was probably, I guess, I'll try and lead from the front of the ground. I think seeing the good in everyone and then trying to bring out the best in everyone to then, I guess, bring out the best in the team, if that makes sense. I still am a huge one on celebrating each other and each other, you know, like if a young kid comes up and, I don't know, makes 10 or whatever in his first game, like let's celebrate it sort of thing. But yeah, I think my style of leadership was making sure that we're all together and having fun and enjoying each other's company. And, you know, there's times along the way where you kind of have to sit down and get everyone's thoughts on where we're heading. And I've always enjoyed, as you can probably tell, I enjoy people. So if I have a cricket team of 11 people and, you know, they all feel like they're having fun and enjoying it, then I'm happy.
What's sort of similar to, they did some research on teams that won championships and they found that there was this really big, I like that you both like, yeah, I'll stick with you with this. But they found there's a really big connection with the most amount of like touch, as in, so like high fives, you know, taps on the back, shoulders, that sort of, so they realized every time they had a huge amount, and they started to think what's similar to what you're saying, which is a byproduct of things working well is if you get people feeling part of something and you just focus on the actual group and the people, then the other things come from it.
One of the guys I played with who was a coach of mine, I remember him talking about, like, he's a mad Collingwood supporter, but he was talking about like Lee Matthews when he coached in the 90s or something. And then he goes, I knew I had the team because I had 2 people or 3 people sending the same message that he was sending, and then it just filtered through. So that was one big thing he taught me is, you know, find your 2 or 3 leaders or the secondary leaders and get them on board, and then the rest kind of it'll filter out. Yeah. There's a really cool YouTube video that he showed me back in the day, which is a Dancing Man. It's around leadership. I'll have to show it to you. It's cool. Yeah.
Can you tell us what?
Yeah. So it's this funny one. It's this one guy shirtless at this music festival by himself, just dancing like a lunatic and no one around him, sort of thing. But then one guy comes in and joins him, and like it explains the importance of the role that person played to then become a supporter, and how that's probably the most important part of leadership is that next person down that is supporting your crazy leader. And then there was like a second guy that came in and explained the importance of that. Now we have a team, now we've got, you know, and then all of a sudden there was momentum builds, and then by the end of the video there's like 150 people dancing around him. It's hilarious. But they explain it over,
I think I've seen that bit because they're on a hill, right?
I think I have seen that. And then they all start dancing like him, and it's like, you know,
it's so awkward.
Just the way but just the way it explains the leadership, it's sort of it's stuck with me, I guess.
Well, and you've got to be vulnerable too, right? Like that's the thing. You ultimately have to do a thing, not knowing what it's going to be like. And dance on that hill by yourself. And then you hope that if you do it in the right sort of way, some other people go, I'll be part of it. That sounds good.
I reckon anyone that starts something knows that feeling.
100%.
being on the hill by yourself, vulnerable,
Yeah.
hoping
Yeah.
that other people will see what you're doing is worthwhile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Lyle, is it fair to say then your approach is you realise the work happens through the people. So you focus on building relationships. You like to spot and get to know your people, and you're willing enough to be that person, to put yourself out there, knowing that you want to really focus on that first group that can support you so that it filters through.
Yeah, definitely. And whether that's through a carpenter managing a tourism park, like I need that. I need the people around me, and I'm lucky that I have really strong support. I think I'd still do it that way, but that helps because I don't have a tourism industry background. I don't have anything like that, but I lean on the people that do, and we kind of work really well together.
Well, it sounds like you got those transferable skills that allow you to be really successful. Because I think don't put yourself down around.
No.
That's this. You've done it for multiple years and done it really successfully.
Yeah. That's something I had to learn, but yeah.
But also from reading your pathway, it seems like it was something that the owner of that business saw in you early. I'm wondering what you think he saw in you to offer an opportunity.
I asked him because a few years in, even now, I'm so thankful for the opportunity that he's given me. But yeah, he saw that I was okay with people, good with people, and happy to talk to anyone. And he's had his house renovated and stuff like that. So he probably saw some other skills in me that would suit him. But I had no history and no understanding of tourism and things. So he's like, it's all right, you'll learn that.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, you can learn that.
Yeah.
You can't. Yeah, sometimes it takes a lot longer to learn the people side of things. Yeah.
There is I've only just met you today, but there is something about you that feels really steady and reliable.
Yeah.
I don't know what to now. You seem pretty even. You seem pretty steady, and you seem like a I imagine, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I imagine if something kind of is happening, I get the impression that you would have handled that, or you'd kind of be like, okay.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe if you had to see me with the two puppies last year. But no, I've certainly had meltdowns as such along the way. But yeah, I think, I don't know, I feel like I've surrounded myself with good people. My wife's incredibly supportive, even when I annoy the hell out of her, probably with changing my mind on things. But
you strike me as coming from the world of education. A lot of the time I used to hear the same teachers every year. So this is from primary school. So you get a new class and the same teacher would always go, I'm just so lucky with this class. Mm-hmm. And I started, I'm like, well, I reckon there's a pattern there. There's something you're doing that just makes this class really great. Mm. Already you've just sort of said, I just happen to be surrounded by great people. Mm. I would say it sounds like the way that you approach things, you seem to suddenly just have these great teams because of the way, like you're the common factor in that.
Yeah.
Shrugging and being like,
I think, look, it's a slight shift, but I was really mindful that the thing that I was most excited about when I was reading through your pathway, what you said was this change from building and carpentry into the work that you're currently doing. Thinking of the listener who might be needing to go through a change themselves, or they quietly realise, I'm doing a thing I don't actually want to be doing.
Yeah.
You've done that shift, and the champion with it was Rosie underneath that too, right? Like, I know you did this, but if it's okay to try and find out for the people listening, talk us through how you actually made that really scary change from this one thing to another thing. And the second part is, can you help us explain and understand what Rosie did? I'd love to hear about what Rosie did.
Well, I think certainly Rosie's incredibly smart. So she's like, I don't know, even when studying and stuff like that, she's kind of, I'd ask her and like, how do you know that? Anyhow, she just knows everything. But yeah, I think, she probably saw, certainly when we were running the building company, Greg, she saw that we probably, she needed to help. And, she was doing the book, she was doing a heap of other stuff. But through that period, it got to a point where it was just becoming too much for me as a person, and she would continually step in and drive it, which was great.
And this was your building company that you'd started?
Yeah.
5 years.
Yeah. And
hard slog.
Yeah, well, it was a hard slog, and it is. And I still, when I eventually got to that point, like there's so many, even now I run into people that are still building and they're like, oh man, I wish I had the opportunity or the balls to do it, but Like I was just becoming a grumpy, miserable person, constantly stressed.
Yeah.
We just had the 2 young kids, you know, like there was a lot of the time by the end, like I needed to like, I'd go and park at the beach for half an hour and just like, right, and then I'd go home, you know. It was just too much. And it took me a while, but I was okay to say that this isn't for me. Mm. And I think for a little while I was looking for some sort of, maybe not communicating it that well with Rose, but I was always probably looking for something to get me out of what I was doing. Rose and I looked at moving up north, but we felt like, you know, you're probably running away from the problems there. So, and then I ended up getting a few bigger projects and we kind of stuck it out. But yeah, I remember going to her and I think she was just asking certain questions and I'm like, I just can't keep doing it. I have to, you know. And it was just timely. Like my mate, I confided with him a lot and talked to him a lot about it. And it was just a chance meeting of him and our boss Mick, and it just all happened. The timing was like perfect. Yeah. But to make the decision was a big one because I'm not just supporting Rosie and I anymore. We got the 2 kids. The kids were young, so Rosie wasn't working, you know, full time or whatever. So, and then the people that I had working with me and around me, it was quite challenging to sort of wrap it up. And that's probably the part I miss the most. But yeah, like, look, I got really lucky that I had the opportunity to be given a chance, but quite comfortable to say that being a builder was not for me. Yeah.
It sounds like, though, you're saying the things. You're saying, this is getting hard, I'm looking for something else. You're confiding in people around you. And if you don't do that, then you don't give people the opportunity to make those connections for you because people don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
It sounds like you are kind of, just by having the conversations with your friends, with Rosie, you are putting it out there that if there's an opportunity without realising it, and that's ultimately what happened.
Yeah. And like I don't think I ever thought that I'd end up out of the industry. I just thought, you know, like I was like, just go back and be a carpenter and work on the tools or whatever. Yes. But I don't.
Running a business is tough.
Yeah. Honestly, my mate John was up at Enchanted with his work, and Mick was there, and Mick's like, I'm looking for I need to get another manager, someone I can train up to take over the park. And then John's just like, why don't you give a house a call? Johnny Forrest, yeah.
And do you still remember that call? Like, were you nervous? Like, what was that?
I was on the treadmill at the gym and Mick was on the rower. It was clear as day. It was a Wednesday and we just got there, and I'd known Mick for maybe 6 months or so prior. I was just walking on the treadmill and he said, he just looked at me and said, you thinking about getting out of building? And I was like, yeah, I have been for quite a while. And he's like, come up and have a chat. And I went up that afternoon. It was like this, far out, this could be an opportunity to get out, you know, and went up that afternoon. Ummed for a bit. We still had projects going. And then, about a month later, I was like, no, we talked it through and said, let's do it. So, it was just.
And to close a business, as you said, like that's not an easy thing.
No. And even now, like I'm 7 years down the track and I'm still holding on to my builder's license. Like I'm still like, I was just still worried what happens if, you know.
I've got some work in my house. Again. So if for someone that's listening who is stuck in a career that is quietly changing them and say, you know, you said I'm having a park at the beach. So 30 minutes, like you sort of knew something wasn't right.
Yeah.
So this person's sitting there, the career's quietly changing them and who they are. What would you say to that person?
So one of the big things I learned through that was understanding the transferable skills that I'd learned. And that was my mate John again. Once I understood that, it was like, oh, hang on, you can actually go and do something else. And particularly where I am now with tourism, and it's not necessarily tourism, but it's a fun park full of people and dealing with people, and was a strong part of my building business or a skill set. Yeah. So when my mate John sent me through, like he's literally sent an email. He pretty much wrote my resume because I didn't have one. And he's like, he just sent through all these different transferable skills that I had through carpentry, through supervising, through running a building company, through coaching or captaining sport and all this sort of stuff. And then that became pretty clear. Like, yeah, actually you can learn whatever product you want, you know, but managing people's probably the hardest one. So Maybe it's easy for me to say now because I feel like I'm very lucky where I'm at with work, but you still got to make that call. You don't know until you give it a crack.
Okay.
But like I said, I've always got something to fall back on.
Yeah.
And to build on what Loz said before, you seem very open to things. So you were open to realise this could be an opportunity. You were open to then go have the conversation that afternoon. You were open to talk to Rosie and say, like, let's engage in this.
Yeah, and there's a lot. Like I had another mate of mine, he came up. We were looking at another position up at the Maze a couple of years ago. He was in the construction industry, completely stressed out of his brain, doing his head in. But in the end, he's just like, no, I can't do it. I need to, I need to earn this much money to provide for the family, blah, blah, blah. And I totally respect that. But he says, he still says it now. He's like, because we just did it. Like it was a massive hit financially, but whatever.
But you could see the long-term view. You were trying to plot it out, be strategic.
Yeah, even if it was a short term, like even if it gave me a year to work out things, I was still probably open to just getting out of what I was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you think of this idea of success, how has your version or definition of success changed over time?
I had to ask Rosie to help me with that one. I did.
What did Rosie say? No, tell us, how's your version of success changed over time?
Well, I think, what do you do? I don't know. I wonder, I actually even wondered whether I had a view on what success looked like. I don't think success in my mind wasn't like how much money you earn or like how smart you are. I think I look at what I'm comfortable with and what I feel is success is I have really, really good friends around me. I have a lovely family. We live in a beautiful area. Like we've, worked hard together to get to living where we are and all that sort of stuff. And I feel like we're comfortable and happy. So I guess that's...
I wonder whether because you had already opted out of the societal value of success at high school, you weren't chasing the score, you weren't chasing university, you weren't chasing academia. I wonder if there is an element of freedom then for you to decide because you weren't buying in to the success that, perhaps other people have prescribed for you.
Yeah.
The fact that, as you said, you left school and you kind of like, I didn't even know what I thought was successful. I was just kind of doing things.
Yeah. I mean, when I left school, all I wanted to do was, like, obviously you had to work.
Like cricket.
Mum made, all I wanted to do was play sport. And that was like, I mean, Rose would probably, she'll laugh, but like right up until probably last year. But, my life at leaving school and even when I was at school was literally revolved around doing my apprenticeship, playing footy, playing cricket, met Rose, going to music, like going to gigs, like that was, but sport was like a massive, that was my life. We went to England together, it was just a, big part of life. I know.
Yeah, awesome.
That was what it revolved around.
Lyle, you told us that you've won a few premierships with all your sporting prowess, but not enough, and you've lost a lot. You've had heaps of runners-ups. So I was interested to know, when you think of like life lessons from all of those losses and being a runner-up, but also the premierships.
Yeah.
What are the life lessons you've grabbed from this love and passion of sport?
Well, I mean, one of my mates would probably say, "Oh, yeah, that's what losers say." But like, I look at like from when, so if I say cricket, but even footy, from a playing point of view, like I look at the teams that I was involved in from 16 through till 2 years ago, we've always been thereabouts. We've always been full of good people. We've always been. So I look at the era that I played in. Like I've lost something like 13 first 11 grand finals. Like it's ridiculous. I've lost 3 in a row twice. Like so,
sounds like Collingwood.
Yeah, I know. It was horrible. And I speak to an old guy from the cricket club, Brian McHugh, and he always reminds me, we won 6 in 8 years or something like this. And the cricket club always talk about this successful era in the 70s and stuff like that. And I push back a bit and I'm like, well, we stayed in the same. We didn't get relegated for nearly 20 years. We stayed. We consistently played fine. Like we consistently had lovely people around the club. We were successful. We just didn't get that much silverware.
Well, I think that goes back to what you were saying before about your view of success, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's not just about the number of rings or trophies. And maybe this is said as a someone that's also lost a bunch of premierships too.
Yeah.
But maybe it's less about the thing and it's more about the overall experience and how many people you can affect with it too.
Yeah. And like last Saturday, we had a past players day at the footy club, and like even just walking in and there's like all these guys around that era. I didn't play in a premiership with them or whatever, but again, it was just full of awesome people. And you go back there on Saturday and it was successful, like you just think it was so much fun. It was, So I guess having fun, maybe that's success.
If you were in year 12 right now and you know all that you know now, what do you wish that you could tell yourself back then?
I certainly wouldn't make myself do it differently. I think you'll be okay. That'll probably be one. You'll be right. The one thing which I remember and I think I've already said it, is an old coach that I played with was surround yourself with good people and good things will happen. So maybe if I told myself that at a young age, but it'll all work out. I don't know. I wasn't overly stressed about what it looked like. I don't know. It just kind of evolved.
Is there something that you realise that you intuitively look for in the people that you want to surround yourself by, or is it just happens? What?
Yeah, I think it just happens. I don't actively go out and seek.
Maybe you're more aware of maybe the people that you don't want to spend time.
Yeah. And whether, I don't know, they have similar values to you. I mean, another one, the same guy that said that. I remember him saying, because we hadn't had kids at the time, I remember him saying, you're still yet to meet your best friends. And I'm like, yeah, I've got some good mates now, but it's so true. Like I've met people now that obviously have similar age kids, but similar values, enjoy it, and they're just really lovely people. But yeah, you surround yourself with the odd dickhead every now and then, but sorry if I want to say that.
But they're wonderful to teach you what you don't want.
You keep them at an arm's length. You don't bring them around for dinner.
Yeah.
I say it's funny because I consider myself lucky to meet, that I've met so many good people, even guys at the gym,
As he gestures to Dan.
There's lovely people at the gym. So what's one skill or area that you're focusing on or learning right now as a general manager?
Tourism in general still. We're doing a bit of work with, from a sales point of view, so more like trade marketing and stuff like that. Mm. And I'm very, very lucky that I have the people that are next to me at work, but I think me being vulnerable about this has made me go, right, I need to learn more about this. So, but certainly, understanding more about strategies and trade strategies and education strategies for work and how they fit in, and working on budgets and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
There's stuff that I kind of just didn't think I'd ever do.
Yeah.
But I find it interesting. I love the budgeting side of things with the park and working that out and watching numbers with, how much percent we're spending on wages, on casual wages and all that sort of stuff, how much we're spending on tomato sauce, looking at all that sort of stuff.
It is a puzzle, isn't it? It really is like fitting all the pieces together and where it all goes.
Yeah. And like building was always like managing cash flow and stuff like that. Oh. And I don't have to do too much of that up there, but at times you kind of have to work out strategies of what it looks like. But yeah, certainly like I've really enjoyed the last year or two, learning a lot more about overseas markets and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
I went to this first conference 3 years ago, and it's like absolutely crapping myself because you do feel like I felt like a bit of an imposter. Like I just really hope some people don't ask me difficult questions, or there was one of the first meetings. Someone said, who's your preferred ITO? And I'm like, and I sort of listened to that, and then I was like, went for a toilet break. Yeah. And Googled what ITO was. I'm like, it's like...
What is an ITO?
What is it?
Inbound tour operator.
Oh. Yeah. That's a problem with acronyms though.
I know. But I had to learn
these things.
And Elsa, who is our sales and ticketing manager, I'm sure she's very patient with me and been very, very helpful, as Emma, who's my offsider as well. She's guided me in that way.
But I mean, there's also, I always come back to this thing of there's information, so like facts that you can recall and have, and then if you can retain them, they become knowledge. So you like build up different kinds of knowledge.
Yeah.
But then you have to be able to apply it, and then it becomes wisdom. Listening to your story, you have all this wisdom about how you can bring out the best in people that ultimately pays off. And I think that's the important part, right? Like sometimes we might not know what an acronym means, but that's just a little bit of information.
Yeah, and holding the information's never been a strong suit of mine. But if you surround yourself with people that know
and be open to realise that you don't need to know everything. It's actually about getting people around you. You can still be really successful. You're testament to that.
Yeah, and how do you find out? Like I said, take a quick toilet break and do a quick Google and you can find out pretty quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'd love to know what's something you get to do in your job that's almost surprised that you enjoy.
I've been surprised at the variety of what, I mean, right from day one of working there. I remember the first week I was patching a hole in a marquee, and I'm going, what have I done with my life? But then the next day I'm up in the trees helping a kid, or I might be off doing another project, or I'll be in doing some rostering and learning all these new systems. And so I think just the variety in everything in that park is probably something that I've been really surprised with and enjoy.
Yeah.
And if Rosie was thinking, all right, there's something that Dan and Laura should have asked, is there something that we haven't asked that you reckon Rosie would be saying, Dan and Laura, you need to ask Lyle this?
Oh, jeez. Well, haven't I finished painting the cladding at the back, maybe?
But isn't that always a thing? Like the builder's house is always the
it's always
finished.
Yeah. No, I'm not sure, mate. Not sure.
What's one thing that you hope the person listening takes away from this episode?
I think there was one, and Jasper's hanging crap on me this morning, but I remember listening to his one, and I think just I guess understanding that what you do tomorrow is not necessarily what you got to do for the rest of your life, and I think if you get the opportunities or you seek them to change, or if you're not, there is a big stigma about you got to love what you do and all that sort of stuff, and sometimes you just got to suck it up and do what you're doing. But I think if you're open to the fact of just get a qualification or go out and get a trade or whatever, have something to fall back on, and then go looking, and you don't know what you find.
Yeah, but as you said, like some of the greatest joys you found haven't been at work. They've been in a team. They've been in your family. They've been through travel, and sometimes work is a means to those enjoyments of life.
The building part was that was the one that stood out for me with the people side of things. Is probably one of the only things I miss about building is that these guys, these trades that I worked with, and they were, like my tyler Dave, who was a ripper guy, I'm an electrician, or my apprentice Nick, like all these people that you would work with, and that was the fun part of it. And
you get to choose them, right? You get to cultivate that for yourself too.
Yeah, and we had a great team, but that's the part I miss the most.
Yeah, so I get it.
Yeah, maybe I wasn't a builder.
You can reach back out to them and they can come up and work with you.
Yeah, I know. Well, I've had a few of them up there and do some work.
Yeah.
It's been great.
Lyle House, thank you so much for joining us on More Than a Score. If you do know someone out there with a story to share, Lyle, if you also know someone with a story to share, feel free to reach out to us at morethanascorepod@gmail.com. And then, Laura, where are we on those Instas again? What are they? Socials?
Score Pod on Instagram.
Thank you. Right now, Lyle, we do like to finish with a
crisp high five.
A crisp high five.
Right, yeah.
Let's
do it.
Can we try this?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. We got to watch.
Is it like a high five or one of those ones?
Not that. We go like, are you okay? You look like you need a stretch.
No, are we standing up or sitting down?
All right. Okay. Great.
Oh, that was pretty good.
Oh, you think so? I'm gonna go get it. Well, what is it? Jeez, that actually hurt my hand.
That was crisp.
That was. I think that might be. Look, my hand's red.